we go?
Let's go.
Or shall we wait for the mopping lady to finish?
Well, she's doing a lovely job.
And the coffee.
The coffee. I think the coffee should be the feature of the whole show.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. What kind of coffee we drink here?
Well, it's Doi Chan.
Doi Chan. All right. Why don't you tell our viewers about Doi Chan?
I think you just did.
It's good coffee. Kap kun krap.
Look at that.
Locally grown Doi Chan.
Yeah. Yeah, the owner of this company and another guy whose name I forget, who's got his picture all over the Doi Chan coffee shops.
Yeah.
He and the guy in Lee Hu
Okay.
started that Doi Chan coffee project.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that before, that he, and was this back when they were trying to get the opium trade was, I think the Queen Mother was
Yeah, it's
helping
kind
out
of-
with that.
Yeah, kind of in that era. Yeah.
They're trying to supplant, if I may, the Kap kun krap.
Thank you.
Trying to supplant the opium crop
Yeah.
with coffee,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
with some success.
Oh, quite a bit of success.
Yeah.
You know. I doubt they're making as much money out of coffee as they did about poppies, but
Oh yeah. Well, of course they can make that in a lab now.
yeah, unfortunately,
Sugar?
I'm sweet enough. I was watching a video the other day,
Uh-huh.
and they were saying that some of these people selling weed
Yeah.
on the street stalls and so forth are trying to capture the market by having the best weed, and they're putting chemical additives in it.
Oh, really?
And the suspicion is fentanyl.
Deadly.
Yeah.
Deadly.
Apparently people are having psychotic episodes.
Man. And I mean, what I understand about fentanyl is one dose gets you high, doses get you really high, 3 doses get you dead. And it's so concentrated that it's very hard to dose.
Not you don't mean 3 doses get you dead like immediately.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people running around the streets, I think, for years on something, and I
Yeah, but
suspect fentanyl is in the mix.
well, that was more like some of the more controllable, substances like oxycodone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then fentanyl is just like, you think about 1 grain of sugar. There were 2. See if I got the news story right. There were 2 container ship containers captured from importation attempt from China, and it was enough to kill everybody in the United States 3 times over.
That's just bloody scary.
Yeah.
Scary. Well,
We'll have to start on a more positive topic than that, though.
yeah, surely we could.
Like, not addictions, because...
What, like good morning?
Well, good morning. Well, hello, yeah.
Oh, like hello.
Hello.
Okay, so shall we start? We'll say hello.
Hello.
But before we begin, if you are retiring in Chiang Rai and need help, my wife Jen is a great time, stress and money-saving resource. Her contact details are in the description below. You know, we've had some trouble with getting our videos created here, mainly with microphones.
Yeah.
And I'm telling Damien, if it doesn't work this time, I'm going to blame his namesake.
I got 3 6s on my bald spot here. Of course, now it's all bald spot.
Yeah. I've never had so many things go wrong. But anyway, we said we'd talk about attachments.
Attachments.
Should we do that?
Why not? And attachments as they apply to becoming an expat, right?
Primarily,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be Thailand, like we're here in Shanghai.
Oh no, it could be anywhere.
Yeah, but you might have had the dream becoming an expat, leaving the country for forever or for a good long time, and there might be something stopping you. And we're going to talk about kind of what stopped us and what we have seen stop others.
Yeah, yeah. You want to know what stopped me the first time?
What's that?
I had made a commitment many years ago that I would not leave my children until the youngest one was 18.
It's a great commitment, yeah.
But I didn't want to be in America, so I suffered for about 14 years.
But well, towards the end there, you weren't even in the same town, right?
No,
Yeah.
no, I was in Houston. They were in San Diego.
Right.
We never saw each other, but that held me there.
Right.
That held me there, and I couldn't let go of that
Yeah.
until they turned 18, and then I did. And I spoke to them all and said, do you have a problem with me going? They all said no,
Right.
but some of them changed their mind afterwards.
Yeah. You don't miss something until it's gone, or feels farther away. But yours was a noble commitment.
It was a
As a
commitment,
father.
yeah, but
Yeah.
you know, like any commitment, I could have broken it.
Sure.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a commitment.
There,
But I'm still attached to them.
of course.
You know,
Yeah.
I didn't want to leave my kids. I'd love to get to know my grandkids. I've got great grandchildren.
Yeah.
And I'd love to get to know them, but my desire to be here, I guess, is greater than that attachment.
And one thing I think that is important about what you did is it inspires others. And well, maybe even through this video. You inspired me. I was watching your videos, like I started watching a year before I moved to Thailand, and it helped me a lot. I also came here on a kind of a fact-finding journey, and I was meeting people. I met one gentleman, Ansel, who was living here on Social Security alone, the government pension in the United States, that they were sending him, and he was saving money every month, he told me. And I'm like, wow, if you can do that, then, this is more doable than I thought. But it's very often, I think, family, I had a family meeting. I called a family meeting with some of my family members, and I said, guys, this is what I'm doing. And so if you take any jab you want at me moving to Thailand now, because after that, after tonight, I don't want to hear anything negative about it. If you have something positive to say, great. Because they were going to miss me, and I certainly do miss them. But haven't we all learned during COVID that like video chat and email and just all the electronic ways that we can feel like we're almost in the same room? Mm-hmm. I had a great conversation with my daughters today that we're going to the mall together to shop for, oh my gosh, dude, it's middle of August and they're already shopping for Halloween costumes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know, they're into it. She said she was the first to order a pumpkin spice latte at Starbucks.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, come on, it's still summer, but okay. So we gave each other a hard time on the phone today, but it was wonderful. Basically, there's a time difference, right? And I said, hey, she sent me a message. She said, call me when you wake up. Well, what a great thing to hear from your daughter. And there are ways that you can feel close to them, and I might go visit them again, maybe during the smoky season or something like that. But very often family, we can feel like they need us in a way that we don't. When I talk to my daughters and I said, how do you feel about me moving? They're like, great, go get it, Dad. Go have that adventure. And they're inspired. They're having maybe more adventurous lives themselves because of the inspirations of what I'm doing. So it's kind of like, fathering by example, even though they're in their 20s now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And, you mentioned the social media like WhatsApp, Line, Facebook.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about text messages. On all of those, you can have a face-to-face conversation.
Sure.
And to me, except for the time difference, it's no different to when I was in Houston.
Right. Right.
Then it was just phone calls.
Would you find that now that you're here, you have more interesting things to share when you do talk to them?
I did when I first got here.
Because I was becoming that dad of, Hey, how's it going? I'm making a sandwich. Who cares, Dad?
Yeah. No, we do have, I don't know why,
Yeah.
but it seems like my kids tell me more now that I'm here than they did
Interesting.
when I was there.
Interesting.
And it's strange, but I feel I have a closer relationship actually
Isn't that funny?
with three of them anyway.
Right.
One doesn't talk to me, but
Yeah.
you know. But with three of them, I actually have a closer relationship now that I'm here than I
Yeah.
had when I was there.
And about that and other attachments we're talking about here, you can always go back, right? I mean, set aside some plane ticket money. You know, don't burn the boats, right? but make it so you can go back. So if indeed you're right and you can't bear with detaching, and going across the world, it's not like we're going to outer space, folks. We're 24 hours away if we need to be, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Not that far.
another attachment occurred to me today. I misplaced my backpack, and I was gonna I gotta have my backpack, put my audio and video gear, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling stressed. I have class right after this Thai language class, and so we only got a limited time to record this. I didn't, and I'm like, what's that feeling? Oh, sorry. Oh, that's stress. I remember that feeling. I don't get that as much anymore. But I used to be the kind of guy who had maybe a sick attachment to stress. It would get me motivated in the morning. Oh, I got appointments today. I got business. I got blah blah blah, and it made me feel more alive. It was kind of like a jolt of espresso in the morning, and I don't think it was a healthy attachment. Yeah, I think that if you want to let relaxation and a retired lifestyle or an expat mai pen rai, hang loose vibe into your life, you've got to kind of examine your attachment to stress.
And stress was almost promoted in the world actually because, how many stress management classes are available? And I always said, why isn't there a stress avoidance class?
Yeah, right.
Because that's the solution.
Yeah, it's been proven that multitasking was a farce, right?
Yeah.
It just allows you to do multiple things at once poorly.
Yeah.
I'm a very focused individual. They used to call me single planker. I'm gonna do one thing. I'm gonna do the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the way you have to be.
Yeah.
Multitasking, over the years, I've met people who were into multi-level marketing.
Oh. Like,
And they'd be involved
Amway
in
and
about
that.
3 or 4
Yeah.
groups. Yeah,
Oh, boy.
Amway and other bloody things,
When you get the call from them, you're like, ooh, what is it now?
Yeah. but I used to say to them, why don't you focus on one and you might do okay?
All right.
But
Yeah.
no, they're trying to build 4 friggin' businesses and they're all different.
Yeah.
And they don't know anything about any of them. They don't.
Yeah, and maybe they're addicted to the stress in a way,
Maybe.
that
Maybe.
I gotta do business and stuff like that. Well, if it's not profitable,
Yeah.
and you're still doing it, it's not like a restaurant where you gotta take a loss for 2 years before you're considered viable.
So getting back on course.
Where'd we go with that?
Yeah. Getting back on course. What are some attachments you think that people have that hold them back from doing what they want to do?
I think a lot of it is external. For example, I was thinking a lot about my dog. I have a little Cocker Spaniel, and he's my life's companion. I love the little guy, and I decided to take him with me.
Yeah.
And sure, some people said, oh, that's bad for a dog to fly and stuff like that. And you got to check, by the way, check your airline and check with the Thai government. Some breeds are not allowed here and on planes. So you have to make sure of that. And if that was something, it was an attachment I was not ready to give up. Yeah. So I decided to bring with. And it worked out great. He loves it here. He loves the new smells. He loves the morning walks. He's doing great. And,
I got a friend in Australia. He wants to be here,
yeah.
but they won't let him bring his dog. It's that one breed they won't allow in Thailand.
Yeah.
And so he will not leave Australia as long as that dog is alive.
I get it.
And why is
Yeah.
he attached to that dog? Because his wife, who recently died, loved that dog.
Okay.
So again, it's that one there seems like more of a commitment than an attachment.
Like a
doesn't it?
personification of her
Yeah.
through the pet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. And I can't say that's a bad thing. I don't know what kind of joy that dog brings into his life. Oh, but I don't know. We talked about doing a Ben Franklin, putting a line down a piece of paper and
Yeah.
saying pros and cons and just
Yeah.
starting to list them. I think journaling and doing things like that were really helpful to me to get clear on what my attachments were and how I could manage them.
Yeah. And you were probably listing attachments not even knowing you were doing that.
I recognize one positive attachment. My favorite restaurant when I was living in the U.S. was 2 blocks away, and it was a Thai restaurant. And I loved the place, but I can't say I miss it because
You got plenty of replacements.
oh my gosh, Thai food everywhere. I can have dinner and breakfast for next day delivered by a motorbike in the rain for $5. Thai food, my favorite. So that's an attachment that I served that attachment and I embraced that, and it's working well for me.
And I think we have to agree that not all attachments are bad.
No, not at all.
Not necessarily. I think the only time an attachment is bad or dangerous, or however you want to say that,
Yeah.
is when that attachment is stronger than something that you really want to do for yourself,
Okay.
and you'll never have another opportunity. And you know it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you stay in that place.
You procrastinate.
You procrastinate, and ultimately you regret.
Yeah, gosh, my retirement benefits through the government don't kick in for another year. I could have waited, but because I was working in real estate and I saw what the interest rates were doing in the American market, and I saw what our local real estate market was doing, I thought, the timing's pretty good, for me to not work in the United States for a while. And sure, it wasn't, it's never going to be perfect, is it? You don't get the perfect window of opportunity. So it was good enough. And what would be the opposite of that? Would be me staying and putting it off for a year and regretting that. So in a way, if you're dreaming about something and you've decided to go, whatever country it is, if you're denying yourself the dream, that's a positive, maybe a positive attachment that you're denying. So it's like, attachments to the past or the future, they're both just as valid sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just made me realize how attached I was. And I took a year too, investigating. Well,
Yeah.
probably 2 years actually.
Yeah.
But after at least 1 year, I had made up my mind, and then I just focused. And that time, waiting to leave,
Oh,
bloody stressful.
tell me about that.
I was counting the days.
I know that feeling. Yeah, well, there's also something to be said about buying a ticket. I mean, I think I bought the ticket maybe 5 months out, and it wasn't necessarily because I thought I'd get a better rate on the plane ticket, but I wanted to I also wanted to make sure I could get the cargo ticket for my dog. But it was part of my commitment to myself. I needed a countdown. And I was starting to feel like that procrastinator, I'll get to that, But I'm like, no, I need a deadline. And boy, talk about some stress, coming up near the end. How was the week before you departed?
How was it?
Yeah, stress-wise.
Hectic.
Me too.
Hectic.
Yep.
Just getting together things with the bank, and I also didn't do my tickets until the end, but I knew when I was leaving. It was the day after my birthday when I turned 65.
Outstanding. Really, really good.
That was it. I was out of there.
Yeah.
But I had to, of course, I had to get my pension stuff together and set everything up so I could have finances here.
Right.
Yeah, but I think, but I'm the kind of person that once I make a commitment to do something, I'm going to do it.
Oh yeah, I'm a freight
I don't
train.
look back.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't look back.
Yeah, and I also had to let go of a few things that served me well for a long time. For example, I was 6 years in a band, and we're doing great. In fact, I think it's the most successful band in my little hometown, or as far as cover bands go. We were playing other people's music, but it was an 80s tribute band, and boy, it was like makeup and costumes and choreography, dancing. It was a production show. And I'm so glad for those guys and the new member who took my place, because they're going great guns. It just no longer served me. And now I'm just getting together with some local friends and some Aussies like yourself that I met, and we're playing music for our own pleasure. And boy, the stress is gone, and I'm back to just having a laugh and enjoying the music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, it's not so much of a grind anymore. And when it feels like that, if you have an endeavor that is not giving you the joy that it was, leave while the leaving's good. Keep it a good memory. Don't grind it into the ground to where it's like, I hate that. I had to leave. It was so awful. No, leave while you're on top. And there's a positive way to leave and let something go in your life and create that empty canvas to paint your new life upon. To some people, that canvas is a little intimidating. They got their whole life all painted on it, everything's just so, and now you're getting out of your routine and you're saying, what do I want? How do I want to design my life in Thailand or wherever you're going?
Yeah, well, that'd be a tough one for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I just let it happen.
Yeah.
I would always be painting in retrospect.
Oh, okay, yeah. And you have to do that somewhat, right? I mean, you have to leave some empty places, because moving here, I didn't know what it was going to be like to live here.
In some respects, I think making plans and painting your picture and so forth is like an expectation. And unfortunately, often expectations don't turn out the way we expect them to turn out.
Right,
So
right.
I would rather not have this vision of what I want things to be.
Right.
I'd rather just let it happen. And then I'm not disappointed.
Well, some motivational book or speaker that said once, like if you consider, like if you've got a bunch of rocks, some rocks are large, some are small, some are pebbles, some are sand. Put the big rocks in first, right? So if you have like a pot or a container, put the big rocks in first, then the smaller rocks. So the big rocks, one of the big rocks for me would be location. Where do I want to live in the world?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then who do I want around me? Well, I want my little dog. Well, that's a big rock for me. So I put that in first. And then when you get here, the pebbles and the sand can fill in the gaps.
And they do a good job. Yeah. Okay, what else? Anything else?
Attachments. Such a big word, because we're not really talking about addictions.
No,
I mean, your
it
addictions,
is an addiction in a way.
well, your addictions you bring with you, right? I
You can
mean,
take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy.
yeah. So in addiction, they call it like what do they call it? A geographic, where you think that making a geographic change is going to change you and stop your addictions or whatever. But attachments, I think, are different. Those are a lot of times they're. Do you find that they're external?
Attachments?
Yeah, we talked about people,
Yeah,
dogs,
mostly.
jobs,
Friends,
Yeah.
family, dogs,
Right,
possessions.
right.
Yeah, I think for the most part. But I've never had a problem with that. I left my marriage after 7 years, and I just walked away from everything. I let my wife have everything.
Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't want to fight over it. I mean, not worth it.
Yeah, and
So,
I think a lot of times we're when we look at our attachments and I think the way we define ourselves back to ourselves in life, the mirror of life, that we somehow believe, even though it's most likely not true, that we'll be creating a vacancy that cannot be filled. For example, when I left the band, that they couldn't find another bass player. Come on, it's an electric bass guitar. They're going to find another bass player, and he's great. Jesse's great. But, you know, I think it was this little voice in me like, oh, gee, I hope they can get through this and everything. And they're doing great guns. Check them out. They're called New Wave Crave. They're all over social media. They're rocking. And like my daughters are having great lives. They're at an age, of course, where, you know, they don't need their dad except in particular times when they just want to talk. They don't need me there holding their hand anymore. And so when we look at our attachments and we think, oh, they just couldn't do without me, or I can't leave my job, well, how would they ever survive without me? Well, is that ego? Yeah.
I think that is. There's a bit of ego in there, yeah.
Okay.
An egoectomy is required. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at that. I didn't even look at my notes.
It was such a great conversation.
We could have had a better conversation.
Are you attached to your notes? Is that an attachment for you?
Yeah, in the respect that I can no longer remember what I wrote.
Excellent.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm attached to the note so I can read what I don't remember.
You know, it's a very good example of trusting yourself, trusting your gut. Because in this conversation, that's kind of what we did. We just kind of free-formed it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, what do you think? Just say something in the comments. Did you like that, or would you rather have us do bullet points and stuff like that, or should we do a postage stamp of the video, of both of us going, like, wow, Thailand? Yeah. Do you really need one more of those? 9 different ways, you'll be amazed.
Yeah.
Shout out to our YouTube brethren there.
Yeah. Well, before we close, just to catch up a little bit, have you had any other exciting things happening since the last time we chatted?
Yeah, I started Thai language school.
Yeah, you mentioned that already.
Yeah, that's as exciting as it gets. I mean, looking up at the whiteboard that the teacher put up there, and I'm looking at all the tonal differences and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to breeze through this. This is good. But it's good. That's the way I like to learn. I like to learn it more. In fact, I'm meeting one of my classmates to do a little study session and more coffee across the street before we start today. But yeah, that's been good. Riding in the mud on a motorbike is I'm getting more skill of that. I'm starting to discover the number one thing to remember is go slow, and have good rain tires. I got some good Pirelli rain tires on it, and
avoid that brown mud.
Sometimes you can't.
Or is it orange?
No, it is. Yeah, it's a brick color almost. Yeah.
You know, it's strange stuff too, mate.
Yeah.
Our garden is full of it, and Jen works down there all the time. She gets it on her pants. The bloody stuff doesn't come out.
No.
She sticks it in the laundry, and it's on other clothes.
You want to know my solution for my bath towels?
Yeah.
Because I was getting in the bath towels all the time. That brown
Fire?
light. You know, because cleaning the dog off after giving him a bath or whatever. No, brown towels.
Oh, brown towels. So we need brown towels, brown underwear.
Now we're going south.
Okay, folks, I think that's enough for us for today. It's probably gone longer than we wanted it to, because he's got to be out of here by 9 o'clock. Okay. See you next time.
Somebody clap.
Wait, what are we going to talk about next time?
What are we going to talk about? Freeform.